Hello, my hearties. A very good evening to you. It's just me, Scottie McClue, First Lord of the Internet. It's Saturday night, 9 o'clock sharp. Nothing gets past me, of course. And here we are, ready to do business. 1 hour of superb, scintillating information, education, and entertainment for not just one nation, but for all the nations of the world. So do come and join us. If you've got access to YouTube, then come and join us and tell us what is what. We've got the telephones, of course. They're open and ready for business, so we can speak to you on the telephones. I think that's very important. If you're coming on, of course, tell us where you're watching from. That's also very important. And we like to get a bit of a handle, just roughly who's who. We've got 25% of our audience are in America, in the United States of America. So that leaves another 75% scattered throughout the world. We're streaming live or broadcasting live, whichever way you put it. There's a lovely old term for you. We're broadcasting live from the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, of which I, Scottie McClue, am considered to be quite a cultural ambassador. So we've got that. So that's rather good, isn't it? There's Susan saying good evening. Good evening to you, Susan. Lovely to have you with us. Can you hear me and see me, Susan? Because you know I trust your judgment. So is everything working? I tell you. And the people that have set the notifications, you should have got a notification. So do tell me if that's working. Lieutenant Commander Topsway in attendance. Sir, lovely to have you with us. Welcome, welcome, I say, to the Tops. Hey, we'll maybe get a wee call from you later and see what is what. Now, I'll tell you what we're talking about tonight. Very interesting. I noticed that the mainstream media leave absolutely no, what can I say, no chance, no opportunity of missing out on telling us all about climate change. Now, I know this is a bit of a hot potato, if you'll pardon the expression, but I was thinking the other night, it was down to -20 in parts of Scotland. And I've put a little video up to this effect. Is this the start of global cooling? Yeah, absolutely, because we heard one mainstream media platform, I won't say which one it was, I won't be so base, said the other night that the Spanish flooding was due to climate change, when of course that's totally untrue. The Spanish flooding was due to the fact they'd taken the dams away and they hadn't thought, where does the water go? And of course we've got the fires, the terrible fires raging across California and wiping out most of California. And Donald Trump said, I think some years ago, that they need the land there is far too dry and they need to direct the water from Canada, etc., and start irrigating California so that these fires cannot get a grip in the way that this one so tragically and sadly has. So there's a couple of fairly serious things to talk about tonight, but of course we'll have all the fun things. We are intentionally a program that doesn't take ourselves too seriously because there's enough programs doing that. And I think this is the one for the people. As you know, the Scottie McClue phone-in has never been about me. It's been about you. That's the whole thing about it. So although it's got my name on it, it's actually all about you. And that's the important thing. So always remember that. This is your program. You can make the calls. You can have the discussion. If you're talking complete and utter nonsense, then, of course, I will make you well aware of that fact at the time. Sound division working well, says Topsway. I'm holding myself in readiness. Oh, there's no need to go that far. I tell you. Sound and vision's good tonight, Scottie. Excellent, Susan. I'm very, very pleased to hear that. So we'll get a call and we'll get started. Now, does anybody know if Numpty Heed has joined us? I think that's very important to know as well. Is Numpty Heed here? Also, can every single one of you who hasn't subscribed, please subscribe? Can we start seriously sharing that? There's no excuse for not having a massive audience to our 1 hour on a Saturday night. We need to link it up. The movies are all there. They're getting good figures. So there we are. And the subscribing base is up on the channel. I think 1 million have looked at the channel in the last week. 1 million. No Numpty Heed yet, Scotty? Yes. I think he's late, Susan. I think we'll have to tell him that when he comes on. We might have to, what you call, berate him for his tardiness. From that point of view, absolutely. So if you've got feelings about the whole climate thing, because you are having very seriously pushed at you this agenda, this net zero type thing. Now, of course, you don't want net zero because the CO2 is very, very good for the lungs of the world, the trees. So there we are. So we need to keep that. And we also need to grow our food. And we know that the wind power and the wave power is not sufficient for keeping the lights on and for keeping us warm and toasty. So for that, we need to, you see, I don't think we closed Longannet, the coal-fired power station that fired up central Scotland. Now, I don't think we should have destroyed that station. We should have kept it with stocks of coal, because coal would keep. Yes, stocks of coal, and then we would have had that for emergencies, which we may well run into, because I was hearing yesterday the gas is running short, and we've only got maybe a couple of weeks gas supplies at the moment. So there you go. So we'll see what's happening there, I can tell you. So you can give us a call on any of these, and Tots were here. If you want to start the ball rolling, then I shall welcome that, because obviously we're going to be a little slower with the calls because we don't take the TikTok feed any longer. We're relying solely on the YouTube feed, which I think is a good thing. I tell you. So there we are. So we're looking at that now. What have I got here? And also, when you're coming on, guys, let us know where you're watching from, because that makes a big difference. I did say this at the start, but not everybody's there at the start. And that makes a huge difference if we can say to people, you know, let us know where you are from. Now, what else have we got here? Let me just see where you're all coming from. I tell you. There we go. And I'm glad that we're getting good signals. There's more bandwidth on offer so that we can have a much bigger time from that point of view. Now, the telephone number for those of you who want to ring in, I'll hold it up. I've got it beautifully handwritten for you, as always. +44 if you're ringing from outside Scotland, right? Or in fact, outside Glasgow, I think. You could +44. But if you're ringing out with the UK, +44. If you're within the UK, 0141 628 9795. Right? 0141 628 9795. There's John Doe has just joined us. And John Doe says, hi, Scotty, watching while having a Vindaloo. Now, you be careful, because the Vindaloo is quite powerful, I believe. Sorry, my mum called. Did I miss anything? Tots were here, of course. You missed lots and lots of stuff. We're talking about the climate change. We don't want to go too far down the old rabbit hole with it. But I wondered if the other night, -20 in Scotland, is this the start of global cooling? So there we are. But if you want to give us a wee ring, Tots were here, that would be good, and get the ball rolling, as I say, because we've intentionally not taking the TikTok feed on a Saturday so we can build up the YouTube feed. So I think that's important as well. And we are only on for an hour, so it's an absolute jewel in the crown, I can tell you. Right, who's this? You're live on Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
Good evening, Scotty.
Tops for here.
Who the chickens do you think it is?
Well, no, it's very, very... Well, it could be anybody, of course. We are worldwide. But I was pretty sure it was you.
How you doing, buddy?
You know, when you go, Scottie McClue, available in Scotland, America, Canada, but mainly Scotland.
Oh, yeah, well, you know my view on the apocryphal American viewers. You know, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
They get a Cadillac when they phone in, right? From you.
The Cadillacs. Remember that, your top dinky toy. They were dear. They were 7 and 6.
Oh yeah. Well,
and I'll tell you what. I had two things. I had a Studebaker Golden Hawk, and I had now let me see if I can remember this one. A Studebaker Golden Hawk, and I had what was that? It wasn't a Cadillac, a Buick Riviera.
Oh, right. Oh, that's the gangsters' travel mode of choice.
Well, I wondered if the Buick Riviera might have had the original V8 3.5 in it, because that was a Buick engine, an engine I love.
Well, you see, I can't do anything manual, right? I'm a lover, not a mechanic. Scotty,
so you tell us, but I think you're probably very skilled. I think there's a huge element of modesty with you. You're a man that takes a leaf out of McClue's book.
I can cook. I do all the cooking.
Oh, lovely.
We have lived in this flat since September 2006.
Lovely.
And I am not lying when I tell you, Mrs. Tupswell does not know how to work the cooker at all. She literally doesn't know how to turn a gas ring on, right? So I do all the cooking. That's kind of my only manual skill.
But she's obviously very brilliant and very clever, and a great foil for you.
Oh, absolutely! Yeah, not only that, and I'm freelance, but I'm pretty sure she earns more than me, so I better keep my. I know which side my bread's bored on.
Well, I remember a question on a national quiz show, and it was, should a wife know her husband's salary? Right?
Yeah.
And this chap answered, he said, well, I think she can know his salary, but she shouldn't necessarily know how much he earns.
Like a side job,
a wee side hustle, you know.
No. I mean, she needs to know how much I am, just because I'm freelance, so the end of January is a tax month.
Oh, of course, yes, it is for your tax. Well, you see, I used to send mine in. I still do. Send it in as soon as it came out, so as near to the 5th of April that I could get the P60s in, I would send my return off, so I didn't have to spend the summer worrying. You know,
my life would be so much easier if I did that, Scotty.
Yeah.
What I do is I've got an
You can do it. You can do it in your phone now if you want. Well, if you've got an accountant, they'll do it. But you can do it yourself on your phone. But they do ask you at the end. They say, "Do you have an accountant? Are you an agent for someone else?" No. Do you have an accountant? No. Did you prepare these accounts yourself? Yes.
I've tried doing them a couple of years myself, and there's a number version of of dyslexia. It's called dyscalculia.
Oh yes.
I suspect I might be an undiagnosed dyscalculic because I cannot count. I'm reasonably successful, and I've managed to get by. Writing and stuff like that.
I think you're very successful.
Well, Mrs. Tutser, he's still with me. So
yes.
Been married for 20
so
years,
that's a success right away. That's a big box ticked.
I'm saying that like because she's through. I'm in my office and she's through in the living room. I'm saying that quickly because I think I heard a note of objection when I was telling you that she couldn't work the cooker.
Oh,
I think I might have heard a rumble.
you might be in a wee bit trouble, so we'll keep talking.
Well, the thing is, if she falls out with me, she'll starve. So what's she gonna do?
Now, so that's a no-brainer. Now, what we've got here, Tuxer, you'll be interested in this, an ex-submariner. Hi, Scotty, watching from my freezing cold boat at anchor in the southeast.
Oh man,
is that not amazing? So he's at anchor on his boat in freezing black dark night in the southeast. Isn't that incredible?
I'll tell you a story. I got shipwrecked off the island, the island of Cymru off Millport.
Oh no!
I get shipwrecked.
Yes, because there's a lot of rocks there.
No. It was absolute idiocy. Absolute idiocy. I had access to a speedboat when I was in my mid-20s, about 30 years ago. And so I went out. It was a beautiful, gorgeous day. The yacht was moored at, it's called Largs Yacht Haven.
Yes, I know it.
And the thing is, it's a haven because the hills stop the winds. I didn't check the weather forecast. I didn't check anything. So I go out in this boat, which has got a flat bottom, if you'll pardon the expression.
Of course.
And so I'm out and lovely sun, but I get out about half a mile, and I found out later it was a force 9 gale.
Oh.
Now, I was shipping green water, and the boat's only about 18 feet long. It's not a big boat. And the waves were coming so high, and I was so scared that I actually involuntarily said the word mummy out loud. I mean, that's like in the trench.
Yeah, but in Scotland, we have a phrase, and when things challenge us, you can go, "Oh, mummy, daddy, mummy, daddy."
Well, this was involuntary. This was one step away from voiding my bills.
Oh no!
It was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And I was halfway between the marina and Millport, the island. So, but I couldn't turn because it would have rolled me.
Yes. So has it scarred you for life, or are you still a mariner?
It did for a bit, because I went out in the boat one time after with a couple of friends, and it was as calm as you like. But I kind of panicked and bottled it a bit, and now let's all go back. There was a tiny swell, and I was like, all right, let's go back. But we went. Mrs. Tulsa, he took me on a really good thing to the Ailsa Craig.
Oh yes.
There was a boat excursion to
where they used to make the curling stones.
That's correct.
Yes. And there used to be a wee tea room on Ailsa Craig. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. There's a mansion. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm mixing up my trip.
No, you're thinking of the wee Cumbria.
That's it. We did that as well.
Yes.
But Mrs. Tulsa, about 12 years ago, bought me a ticket on an excursion to the Ailsa Craig, and it was very rocky. And at first, I was getting the panic again.
Well, it's solid granite, isn't it?
Well, no, it was just the journey over. It was the waves.
Oh, rocky, not actual rocks. Yes, it was quite wild. Where did you go from? Did you go from Girvan?
It was just short of Girvan. Yeah,
right,
it was a couple of miles south of or north of Girvan, and but I noticed there were two crew. And it was one of these. They're designed like pilot ships, but they're not the big pilot ships. They've got a very deep draft.
Yes.
So, and it's bobbing like a cork. But I noticed one of the crew was asleep. So if he wasn't worried, I wasn't going to be worried.
Well, of course, from the age of 12, I spent my days going back and forward across the Clyde, working on one of the ferries. There's a wee one. I had a Saturday job. You could do that then. And I had a Saturday job. So I got this wonderful training for about 2.5 years from 12 to 14 and a half.
Wow.
With one of the finest ferry masters ever to grace the Clyde.
Was that one of the Western ferries from Gourock?
No, it was before Western ferries. This one was a gentleman. In Gourock, you had brothers called Ritchie Brothers, and they ran a ferry to Kilcreggan. And one of the brothers had gone out on his own, and he ran an MFV from Gourock to Helensburgh.
Right.
So I joined W.R. Ritchie Roy, and what a wonderful man. He would be about 66, 67 at the time. And he treated me like a son.
Well, there's still a passenger ferry from Gourock to Kilcreggan. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
Yes, so I believe, yes.
It's such a lovely afternoon. You just go over to Kilcreggan, and then there's a really nice bar there, and so you just stay there for a few hours.
Up at the hotel, I know, fine. My father and I built a boat. Well, my father built it, and I sort of helped. And and we used to go over to Kilcreggan in a summer's evening and have a beer and come back. Great.
Well, my father in the late 70s, I was probably about 9. He bought a cabin cruiser, 26 feet thing that you could sleep in it.
Yes, nice.
But it was, but when you're a kid, and it was a bit miserable, and it was dangerous as well, because you know what it was like back in the day. Nobody cared about the safety of children.
Well, no, you didn't put life jackets on or anything like that.
Not life jackets. My brother and I were clambering around the rails in the side of this boat with heavy boots on, fishing equipment in one hand, and no life jackets. So it was a bit miserable, but my goodness, I'd give anything for that kind of thing now.
I know, it was great. It was great. What you saw a lot of the time around Greenock, Gourock, Port Glasgow, up the Clyde, there was converted ships' lifeboats. So after the Second World War, a lot of people bought a lifeboat. You probably got them for pennies, and converted it, put a little cabin on it, and a wee loo and a proper engine, and away they went. And this was the leisure thing. And during the summer, the place was just peppered with boats, and you'd got all these yacht clubs and sailing clubs, and you hardly see any of it now.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's so expensive. You'll know the phrase, a boat is a hole in the water that you throw money into.
Yes. Well, they say that there's 2 days that you get real joy out of a boat. The day you buy it and the day you sell it.
Absolutely. You know, to give my father his credit, he did provide life jackets, but he ran a small business which was ancillary to the shipbuilding, and he wasn't a shipbuilder himself, but his company did the dirtier part of it, the shot blasting and the cleaning of tanks.
Brilliant.
And when he got the cabin cruiser, we've got life jackets, but they'd obviously been pilfered from a ferry back in the goodness knows when, because they had stencils. They were enormous, like
probably rather than pilfered, they were probably throwing them out. And somebody said, "What are you doing with the life jackets?" I said, "They're just going in the bin. Take them if you want them."
The thing is, they were stenciled with the Board of Trade, and this is 1978. I think that the Board of Trade had been pensioned off in the 60s.
The Board of Trade,
or no life jacket. They were more hazardous to even try wearing. So
I think it was the Board of Trade that did the licensing in those days for skippers.
Right.
So if you were running a passenger boat, you had to have a Board of Trade certificate to say that you were a licensed skipper. You knew your stuff, rather than just some casual guy that said, I'll take the ferry back and forward. Because if you had more than 12 passengers, so, some of these boats, the ferries took 72 passengers, 150, and sometimes it was changed summer and winter, and sometimes the route was changed. So they said you will not go past Weemsby, Bogany Point, Rothsay, something like that. So they didn't want people going away down the Clyde in the wild weather to the Garachid.
All right.
So
Oh,
they changed things about.
you were asking about my phobia. Last year we were on Arran and there was a very, very high wind, so we managed to get the last ferry off the island. It was a bit, I think it was last April. And it was, I'm not kidding, the roll was at least 35 degrees to either side. Definitely. And it was the Troon catamaran that they put on.
Yes.
Because the big ferries can't handle that. So, and it was the last one off the island, you know, or else we'd have to stay there for goodness or so. And but I have definitely got over my fear of the waves.
Well, you know, when people were complaining very recently about the problems with ferries and new ferries and all this stuff, just because Thatcher basically, you know, paid to the Scottish shipbuilding industry, sold off the yards cheap, all that kind of stuff, caused a real stushy. Took the money to London, so she looked good and what have you. So that's gone, that's done. So we've had to relearn shipbuilding, and you know, the Scottish shipyards were the best in the world. You know, there's absolutely no doubt about that, the best in the world. And in 1957, they brought out the Glen Sannox. So the present Glen Sannox is number 4.
All right.
So there were two. There was one. I'm not sure if she was a paddler or whatever, but there was Glen Sannox 1, and in 1925, up till about 52 or something, there was Glen Sannox 2, and then in 57, Glen Sannox 3 was a great big, heavy car ferry that did a wonderful job between Ardrossan and Arran.
I had the privilege of actually steering one of the Calmac ferries once. It was the Jupiter.
Yes, the Streaker.
My father's company hired it for a job on the. Pardon me, Scotty. I'm actually at the fridge now. I'm making myself a drink while I talk.
Yeah, no, you're very wise. You're very wise. I get a bit of a truth just listening.
But my father hired the Jupiter. And I got a show. It was at the American floating dock, the FD60, I think it was, the Holyloch.
I used to go every day to that.
Oh, right,
Every day, because we were part of the Liberty service from it. So
what's the Liberty service?
Well, when all the boys at school went to play football, this is how I know nothing about football. I got on my bike and rode like an idiot. And we went down to the Admiralty Pier, and I joined the ferry I've just been telling you about. And we would go at 4:30. So we arrived at the American ship at 5 o'clock, and we would take anything up to a couple of hundred sailors and bring them back over to Gourock for Liberty. So they could, you know, just go having a refreshment and get some stuff from the shops, what have you.
Yeah. When I worked for my father for a miserable 8 months.
Lovely. He would love it.
No, it didn't work out that well. But
training the boy.
I do remember on a Friday night there were a lot of painted ladies. Can we use that phrase?
Oh yes, I'm quite sure we can. Yes.
They would be on the ferry going over to the Holyloch on a Friday evening. It was like, wow, what's going on over there? It must be a massive
party time.
Well, I should let you go, Scott.
You better. But listen, what I was going to say to you, you were saying about steering the Juno there, was it? The Jupiter?
Yes, it was a Jupiter.
The Jupiter. Now, they were known as the Streakers, and they really made a difference to the speeds, because I think they had Voth Schneider, where you could split the levers and you could maneuver them sideways. So they could do like, you know, 15, 20 knots ahead, you know, not much short of that astern, and about a third of that sideways.
Well, it was needed certainly for docking at the AFE 50, the American floating dock. I obviously didn't.
No, you don't. You hand over to somebody else when you get there.
Yes, the idea. Do you know? Listen, I don't know if this is going to come as news to you, Scotty, but boats don't have brakes.
No, they don't. You've got to know what you're doing. But the best lesson I ever got: take it slowly.
Yeah,
and that was the best lesson I ever got. So any smarty pants you see heading hard into port in a boat, forget that. And what you'll find is, as you know, there's way on a boat. In fact, if you were to take a tanker, you know, a massive oil tanker, these things take about 4 miles to stop.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the one I wondered about the Titanic, because I thought they were going, you know, hard to port or whatever and stop engines. And I thought, there's no way you would stop that boat.
Yeah.
You know,
well, it turned out there was one way to stop that boat.
But as you, yes, that's right, allow the dock to stop it. But no, what you'll notice, and I've seen very seasoned skippers do this, if they're going a little too hard, powerful engines full astern and open them right up, and you see them biting in. But the trouble is that vessels kick, and they can kick to port or to starboard. So you've got to find out which way does your vessel kick when you put it hard astern. I
believe that is from torque from the propeller.
Yes.
See, I know.
Oh, sheer talk. So what you would do is, if you're going in, and you saw, all my life I've studied, I've been allowed on the bridge of ships, and I've studied skippers, and some of them are just so skilled. Now, you know, when you're stopping and you're parking, you'll park outside your flat, and you probably roughly get the same space or one not far away, and you'll just pull up at the right width away and the right amount forward to park that with ease, because you know what you're doing. And these skippers probably had the pile of the pier in view. I thought, I'll just go astern now. And that'll bring her in. Your problem with a ship, as you know, is the wind. Is it onshore or offshore?
And also the water keeps shifting underneath. And it's like trying to park your car outside your flat, but the road keeps moving.
The road's moving all the time.
Having known a little bit about navigating a boat, a tiny bit, I've never been trained, obviously, or else I wouldn't have gone out in a force 9. But knowing a little bit about it, it constantly amazes me how these guys can just nail it every single time.
Beautiful. And also when you look at the skippers, you know, the Caledonian McBrain skippers over the last 150 years or whatever, the way that they've, you know, gone out in all sorts of weathers, going into island ports at, you know, 9 o'clock at night, in a winter's night, midnight, not able to see, no lights on or anything like that.
Yeah. The staff. I know Calmac gets a lot of abuse, but
only from people that don't understand the sea.
Yeah. The staff are I've never had any issue with any of these ferries all my life, and it's a great way to travel. I just love it. Mrs. Tupsor is very content with just doing Scottish holidays.
Mrs. Tupsor is very switched on.
Yeah, but not enough to get me a drink, though.
You're going to catch it. You're going to catch it when you go off, boy. I'll tell you.
You know, I definitely heard that grumbling from the living room. I'm taking a leave from my You've reminded me of another thing, but I really don't want to hog the
right, no, you better not hog it. What was the other thing?
well, it was actually on topic, believe it or not. We're talking about global warming.
Oh, yes.
as you know, we live in a traditional Glasgow tenement now.
Yes.
What's on the cards is there's no way they can have enough electric power points for all the cars that are parked along here. This simply can't be done.
You're 100%. I'm so glad you brought this up.
I reckon what the plan is, and I wish they were just open and honest about it, is that if you live in an area like this, you live at Queen's Park, Glasgow, a car will be we will be zoned that you are no longer allowed to. Oh, you can have a car, but you have to park it up in New Mearns or somewhere like that outside of the zone. And you can have a car, but it'll be a car club that you have. It's yet another blooming subscription you're going to have.
Yes,
rather than owning anything yourself. I'm very proud that I managed to buy Mrs. Tutsley's car.
Well, no, you see, you don't actually own that car. I don't wish to frighten you.
Well, a Hyundai dealer would beg to differ.
No. Listen, you know, yes, they've given you finance so that you can acquire the car. But have a listen. If you look at your registration document, you will be the registered keeper, not the owner.
Well, Scotty,
now,
you're talking to a man who was a man of means a few years ago.
Yes.
I bought it new for cash.
We've all been there. You bought it for cash, but you're actually the keeper legally. We don't own things. It's very interesting. And there's a lot of stuff worded like that. Otherwise, they would say, are you the registered owner of this car?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, on your D9.
Oh yes, McClue's not daft, you know, and I knew you were worrying there, but no, McClue's not daft. Now listen, wait till you hear this. So we've had the ex-Submariner, and just a couple of days ago, you know, I upload quality movies to the site as well to keep people busy when McClue's can't get to them personally. And the other day we uploaded A Twist of Sand. And I would like the ex-Submariner to see that, because it's all about submarines.
All right. Oh, do you know, the idea of submarines, I mean, that is the right stuff. If you can be a submariner, that is crazy stuff, you know?
Oh, yes.
Just, it's a lifestyle I just immensely proud of, but not proud of, impressed by, but it's not something I could add.
Oh, I wouldn't like to do it, but I have met a lot of submariners, and I have to hand in heart, it must go with the job. But they're deeply serious people.
Yes.
And they're I'm not surprised, mind you, and they're very thoughtful people. So if you're having a conversation with a submariner, it will be a serious, sensible conversation.
Yeah, well, it's not the kind of thing that you want somebody with a kind of flaky disposition.
No, a kind of dafty roundabout. Oh, I forgot to shut the hatch, skipper.
Yeah. Also, it's like, imagine you're like 1,000 feet under the Pacific Ocean, and it's like, I
can't handle this. Well, of course, you see that in the films. I've uploaded a number of submarine movies. The Waves Above Us with John Mills.
I'm going to have to watch
that. You will love these things. My mother, who was from Ardrishaig in Argyll, and the house was beside the Crinan Canal, and during the Second World War, she could hear the midget submarines going through to blow up the lock gates at Narvik. And she said they sounded funny. They went through during the night, so there was an element of secrecy at the time. And she said they sounded funny. They made a funny noise. And I thought, I wonder what that was. And then I found out they had Gardner engines. And they would be that lovely, steady Gardner beat like the buses had them. And do you remember a bus sitting at the bus stop and you could hear boom, 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 boom. As the bus was sitting there, a bit of diesel chatter. And with the Gardner, it's so balanced, it's so smooth. And just that bum, 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 bum.
It wouldn't be good these days. I mean, the extraordinary lengths we go to be silent.
Yeah, no, it wasn't silent at all. And then they would have batteries for doing the actual mission. They would go, they would submerge, and but I think it was all it wasn't for the faint-hearted. Let's just put it that way. Listen, what about this? Here's Susan. 1 sugar and milk, thanks, Tupswahey, and a big laugh. And then Melinda, greetings, Scotty. Jimmy Hendricks is in Wanganui in the west coast of New Zealand. Now, if I remember rightly, Wanganui is a big public school at Wanganui, I think. And Alice from London. So enjoying this conversation between you, Scotty, and Tupswahey. Brilliant. So there you are. So you see, you've got to hear all these things. Jerry, on new builds now, every house has a car charger. If everyone comes home at 5 p.m. from work, then everyone puts their car chargers on the grid. It won't take it, and it'll go pop, and we'll get a power cut.
That's a very, very good point. But, and also, this is absolutely true. Electric cars, after 3 years, the battery is gubbed, right? Now, but unfortunately, the battery is 2/3 of the cost of the vehicle.
Yes.
So it was James May from Top Gear and the Grand Tour who said it. He said it's not that electric cars are not about saving the planet; they're about saving the car industry.
Listen. It's there's nothing wrong with the planet. It's the people that are needing saved. You know what I mean? You're not going to, by stopping a few cow farts and stopping the trees being the lungs of the world and making sure we don't have any carbon, you're not going to change this global warming thing.
Exactly. Yes, but you should be going to mitigation rather than this ridiculous. And all the figures are just simply plucked out of there.
Of course.
They were saying, the targets were 1.5 degrees centigrade. Well, why? Why not? Why not two? We don't know. Net zero. The British government's on net zero. It has to be by no electric cars by 2030.
Oh no! Listen, I'll tell you. If you go back to the 1890s. C.S. Rolls of Rolls-Royce, Charles Stuart Rolls, right? He was an electric car dealer. And he got, do you remember this? And he got into conversation with Henry Royce from Manchester, an engineer who was a petrol head. And Royce said to Rolls, "Come to the workshop and see what I'm working on." And there was the first Silver Ghost. And Royce went round to the front and gave the handle a swing. And Rolls said to him, "What's up with her? Won't she start?" And Royce said, "She's running."
But was it electric? So it was electric,
No. This was a petrol, and she was, because what Royce's thing was making everything as light as possible, so you didn't get the vibration and the noise and the bangs and clanks and all that. So everything was very light. He would throw stuff across the workshop and go, "Too heavy," and all that. And when you think about it, who else did that? The Japanese. Do you remember when Honda bikes came out, when the world was run by BSA and Matchless and James Captain?
I remember the models. I wanted to actually have a bike, but then I realised I couldn't do the hospital time that a motorbike invariably involves.
Wonderful, but you could get, when they came in, the likes of your Honda 50, your Honda 90, the Honda 125 that could absolutely fly,
Classic.
And there was no, the British bikes like the C15 Starfire, the 250 BSA, you'd get boom, 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 boom. You could hear it coming. And then these little things would just zing.
My father, as I say, he ran a small business. He wasn't, considering that he grew up in one of the actual slums that are now the Kingston Bridge. I mean, abject poverty. That's what he was brought up into. he made a good success out of himself.
Yes.
So he did it himself. And in the mid-90s, he was buying a Honda Legend, which was, you know, the Honda executive car. Right?
Yes.
And he took my brother with him to the showroom, and the showroom, the salesman was very proud that the engine didn't vibrate at all. So what he in the showroom, he popped the bonnet. And he said, look, I can put this 50p piece on the engine block, and you go in and start the engine and the 50p will not move. So he did it, and sure enough, the 50p didn't move.
At the same
time, however, my brother slammed the boot and the 50p went right into the engine block.
Oh.
Yeah, He didn't buy that particular Honda.
No, that particular one, but no, they were very quiet and very light. The early Datsuns and Hondas and what have you, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
Oh, my mother had a series of Honda Civics. I passed my test in my mother's Honda Civic in 1987. And I don't want. I really don't want to hog the entire.
No, you mustn't. You mustn't.
I've got another quick tale about that, but how about I save it for next week?
Right. Well, okay, and we will have a catch up next week. And you haven't hogged it at all. You've been most interesting, and your father must be very, very proud of you.
Well, he died some years ago, but yeah, I'm sure he'd be gratified by that, Scotty.
So there we are. There's Steve saying, I'm the registered keeper. My car, I've got my V5C here. So he's the registered keeper, but he's not the registered owner. Because there's no such thing.
To be absolutely brutally honest, I only wanted to brag that I'd bought a car for cash.
Oh, no, I love that. No, listen, cash is king.
Yeah, well, you would think so as well, but we didn't get a particular massive discount because nowadays the dealers only make money on the finance agreements. But my father always bought cars for cash free or cash price, and you'd get thousands off an expensive car. Oh, yeah. Not anymore because they make their money from people
from the finance.
Renting.
They're geared up for the finance. No, thank you.
Right, well, Scotty, it's been a genuine pleasure as always.
Lovely to hear you, and all the best. And if the missus is in any doubt as to what you said, you should be able to catch up on YouTube.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm worried about because I think it was quite a trend that she can't cook.
Oh, we'll treat it as a light-hearted joke. Yes, she's a superb cook. Just so everybody knows, Mrs. Tutsley is a superb cook.
Thank you. And I thought you were a man of truth, Scotty. Oh my goodness.
It's not my nose is growing. I'll see you, DINKY-DOO.
Yes, Scotty. Bye-bye.
Man. Now, guys, I know that was a longish call, but what a fabulous guy. How very funny is that? So there you are. Jerry and Susan, Happy New Year. Let's get back to the coal fires and the older cars with change the points, plugs, and oil. That's all you got. There's too many sensors on cars. At least you can service the car yourself. Absolutely, Jerry. So there you are. John Doe says the Honda 750 blew every British bike off the road. Yes, it did, John Doe. And some of the British bikes went up to 1,000, didn't they? DINKY-DOO, Scottie McClue, Mr. UK, lovely to have you here. Jerry, go down south. You'll get your cars cheaper there and save pounds. Well, I think the thing is down south, there are more cars about. If you've just joined us, a very, very good evening to you. It's Scottie McClue live on YouTube just for you. We pop up every Saturday evening at 9 o'clock sharp. So make sure you subscribe and ding the bell so that you get notifications. Let me know when Scottie McClue goes live. I hope you're all enjoying the movies. I had somebody there to say, just upload army movies, he was saying. And new builds, yes, every house has got, that's right, we've done that one. So there we go. What was that one about? Just upload army movies. There we are. Well, I've uploaded a good few army movies, I can tell you. Now then, what else have we got here? Melinda's on the Pascagoula River on the Gulf of Mexico, Mississippi. There we are. Now, Melinda, what do you think about President-elect Trump's comment that the Gulf of Mexico could be renamed the Gulf of America? And I wondered if we should rename England Scotland. You know, just a thought, I tell you. So there we go. Jenny, I hope the scarf gets you warm, Scotty. Oh, yes, Jenny, scarf's beautiful. In fact, I've got it here. I put it beside me, and I keep it close. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, this is a lovely Christmas present, guys, from two beautiful friends of mine. Isn't that lovely? There we are. I'll probably be into a grease spot by the end of the show, but we like that. A DINKY-DOO, is there a moose loose about the hoose, Scotty? Anglo-Saxon. How lovely to have you with us. Susan says, I hope Numpty Heed is okay. I hope he's okay, Susan. He's maybe watching football, or he's maybe gone out for a wee dram. There we are. Goes with the hat, Scotty. Oh, yes, I look the part, Jerry. There's no doubt about that. Now, what else have we got here? Feel free to give us a call, folks. That was a great chat to Topsway there. 0141 628 9795. 0141 628 9795. The +44, you would drop the 0 at the start and put in 44 141 628 9795. 44 141 628 9795. All right, very, very important. Thanks, go to Tuxford for such a super call tonight. When you're saying I don't want to hug it, it's always good stuff. Always make sure that you tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10. And has everybody subscribed? Go down and give me a thumbs up, guys. Bottom left of the picture. I'm just going to check the subscribers. See who we've got here. Yes. So we could do with another 100 subscribers as soon as possible. And I've uploaded 2 or 3 new movies for you. There we are. And see what you think. Right. From that point of view. Now, the new builds. Jerry, I'm having a dram and a can. And he mentions the beer. I can't advertise the beer. Have another beer. Cheers, Jerry. Are you trying to get me drunk, says Jerry? I'll join you, Jerry, says Susan. So Susan's going to have a beer with Jerry there. So tell us. So Melinda, if you're still watching, tell us what's happening. Yes, the batteries gubbed. The cars gubbed. So there you are. Jonda says they get batteries from China. Yeah, but does there not have to be a lot of sort of anti-green mining to get the components for the battery? I think that's the point. Jerry has said quite wisely, get back to the coal fires. The coal fires. The only thing is you don't get the smogs you used to get. But that wasn't just the houses. That was industrial as well. Where's wee Davy these days, says Neil. Neil, I don't know. I hope he hasn't taken the roo. I hope he's all right. But he came on and he was saying it wasn't what it used to be. There was too many Americans coming on and all that stuff. I do find people intriguing. Scotty, you're having a buns night on the 25th. It's a Saturday night show. Bring the haggis in. We might do that. I used to do that on the radio. Actually put on a bit of a bun show. And then I would address the haggis. The address to the haggis. So I would give it Fair for your honest sonsy face, great chieftain o' the puddin' race, aboon them all ye tak your place, pinch, tripe, or thorn, weel are ye worthy of a grace, as lang as me earn. A wee bit of buns for you. Talks right here, if the government's serious about saving the environment, they'd be paying us to keep old cars on the road. It's about consumerism, not environmentalism. Well, it was always about consumerism, talks right here, and following the money. And if you look closely at the green net zero agenda, it's purely money based. You know, it's to make more money out of the people, put more onto your bills to help pay for the net zero, for the healthy living. I remember that call with wee upset Davy. Yes, Neil, he was a wee bit dischuffed, so I hope he's okay. There's certainly no problem with me. Mr. UK comment was good, Scotty. So there you are. What was Mr. UK comment? Tell me more. Mr. UK comment was good. What did I say? Mr. UK. A catch-22 situation, says John Doe. John Doe, you've got a very good point there. You're a very wise man. You should give me a call and we'd have a wee chat, although we've only got 2 or 3 minutes left. But it passes in a flash. It really does. And we used to also have the TikTokers with us at the same time. But I haven't enough bandwidth for that. But there's more bandwidth on offer, and we might share a platform with the Facebookers as well. You know, that sort of thing. Tatsuya says, I stole all the chat time available. No, Tatsuya. The chat time is available for chat. And you and I were chatting, and everybody loved your call. There's not a single complaint. Otherwise, they would have been writing, get him off. All that stuff. They've done that to me, you know. They can be terribly harsh. Somebody once said to me, the public can be very fickle. They can be terribly harsh. Get him off. That's the thing. Wait a minute. Oops. There we go. Now, it was a fly flying about. I didn't want him to settle on the camera lens. It's my birthday on Rabbi Buns Day, says Neil. So, Neil, does that make you a Capricorn? Is that right? Are you a Capricorn? I tell you, tonight has been fabulous, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed it. And Anglo-Saxon says, how's Mr. Martin? Well, he was a bit dischuffed, wasn't he? I can tell you. We like all that. He said he was gutted that the BBC didn't show anything over Xmas New Year. So Stanley Baxter, Andy Stewart, Moira Anderson, yep, all that sort of stuff, absolutely. Neil says he's an Aquarian. Oh, you're into Aquarius, Neil. Yes, I was a wee bit out there. I thought you were in with the Capricorns, but Aquarians, so you're an air sign. You'll be very good. Mrs. Tuxrahay says hello to all. Guys, this is Mrs. Tuxrahay, who is a very fine cook, I believe. Good night, Scotty and Jerry and Tupper. Safe and warm. You too, Susan, safe and warm. And guys, that goes for every single one of you. Safe and warm. Ha! Hi, Mr. Tuxrahay, says Susan. Neil Gormley, a water sign. Aquarius. Aquarius, a water sign. Gosh, I'm getting my education tonight, Neil. That's 2 mistakes I've made in the one sign. Just as well I'm maybe not reading fortunes. Okay, bye, good night. I say to you all, Jerry, good night, Lala. Nice one, Scotty, thanks for the save. You're sorted, Tuxrahay. Jerry says good night. Oh, I tell you. Goodbye, everybody, goodbye. Take care, everybody, as you go. Goodbye, everybody. Auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, and a cheerio. Love you all. Night, night. Ta-ta, lads. Ta-ta, lads. Ta-ta.